I'm back from Seattle, and I gotta say, guys, I am excited. I got a chance to get my hands on the Halo Campaign Evolved demo at the Halo World Championship, and this game has the potential to be something great. I know there's a lot of people that have the misconception that this is just another remaster like Combat Evolved Anniversary, but look into it further than just the trailers and the reactions, and you'll find out that we're getting more than just a reskin CE. Now, I love Combat Evolved. I remember when I was a kid, I was first exposed to Halo through my cousin and his Xbox with Halo 3 ODST, and I think Halo Reach, though I don't know if it came out yet. And when I got my Xbox 360, I went to a Goodwill one time with my parents in search of games, and in one of the bins, I found an original copy of Halo Combat Evolved that I still have today. By far, it is the campaign I replay the most, so being able to see a modern version of it come to life has me excited for the future of Halo. Though I know as a whole the Halo community has mixed reactions to it, which we'll get into in this video. So today I want to get into all the good, the bad, and all the other stuff that needs work before this remake releases. I'm also going to be giving an update on what's going on with the channel by the end of this, but first I want to talk about my experience at the Halo World Championship. So if you just want to hear my takes on Campaign Evolved, feel free to skip to the timestamp on display. I gotta say, it was so much fun being there in person at the Halo World Championship. The crowd was ecstatic when the remake got announced. You can tell that there were hints it was gonna be a CE remake, from the attendee badge showing the Mark V, the merch that I'm wearing right now being hidden until the reveal, this odd Forerunner structure that was just kinda placed in the middle, which turned out to be the demo stations for Campaign Evolved, and the Combat Evolved soundtrack playing while they took a break between the matches and the reveal. And I was able to meet so many people from different parts of the Halo community, and my brother and I were even able to get our copies of Halo Infinite and Combat Evolved signed by Steve Downs and Jen Taylor. I think all of this goes to show just how diverse the Halo community is and how much we all love Halo. Developers, former and current, creators, pro players, artists, cosplayers, or just fans in general. That is truly what makes this place special. The Halo World Championship was certainly an experience I'll never forget. I'm sad to see it go on hiatus and its support for Halo Infinite end, but I am glad to see it end on a good note. Besides that though, let's dive into everything that's been going on with Halo Campaign Evolved. Now, I was there to witness the reveal live, but I didn't know it got leaked early online by Xbox. This was because the match before the reveal with Optic and TSM was still ongoing with a score of 2-1 at the time, and TSM just had to take Optic into double overtime, and then they had to win map 4, tying up the score to 2-2, and then eventually Optic won, but by that time it had already been delayed when the announcement occurred, so that's why the reveal was kind of botched. Regardless, let's go ahead and review the Vidoc they released. Halo Campaign Evolved is striving to be the visual upgrade to Combat Evolved that Anniversary was unable to do, while achieving new things that neither Bungie or 343 could do at the time. It's a game that new players can get into and old players can revisit, but with new additions. Up to 4 players could play together, and 2-player split-screen co-op returns, and it's coming out on the PlayStation 5. That is awesome to hear. I have a friend who primarily plays on PlayStation and likes Halo, so it'll be awesome to play this game with him. And the return of split screen is great because we are living in times right now where getting a console is expensive, especially one from Xbox. And features like this not only brings people together, it makes gaming more accessible to others. I made a short on this a while ago, and I remember somebody commented that it's a feature of the past that should stay in the past. Yeah, fuck you, bro. I remember that comment. They're bringing it back now. 4-player co-op also appearing is awesome. The original Combat Evolved only supported up to 2 players. So to account for this, there's been tuning to the difficulty, the maps are being scaled slightly larger, and there's a 4th seat now at the rear of the Warthog. This game will also include new skulls along with the old ones to collect, making it have the most skulls in any Halo game. And developers claim that doing a lasso on this game will prove to be very difficult. 9 additional weapons will be added to the game, including the energy sword, the battle rifle, needle rifle, fuel rod cannon, sentinel beam, and more. Vehicles are now destructible and able to be hijacked, and the race will finally be usable in the game. I love these new additions. It really expands on the sandbox and allows us to pick up weapons that we previously weren't able to before. The Flood are appearing once again after more than 18 years, with their behaviors being updated to be more like the Flood in Halo 3, and are going to be bringing in the tank form. I heard that this could break canon since it's a pure form, but we're just gonna have to wait and see how they address this. In terms of sound, the soundtrack is the same, just remastered, and the sounds for the weapons and vehicles are fully rebuilt. But I've got some problems with it, which we'll get into in a little bit. Some levels are also being updated, with the only mention so far being the library. In the library specifically, which features several flood encounters, we wanted to reevaluate the pacing and enhance the environmental storytelling. We've added new lines to Guilty Spark, which guide players through the level, and there's new dialogue that gives more insight into the narrative as it plays out. I do hope, especially in the second half of the game, they improve the pacing, because that was one of the more weaker parts of Combat Evolved. Speaking of narrative though, they are bringing back core cast members to re-record their lines and have remade the cinematics using motion capture animations and storyboards that were used for the 2001 release. The concept for this art looks amazing, especially the one depicting the maw. Look at the warthog out in the distance. I really hope they remake it like this so it looks like the autumn is actually split in half instead of this really weird bridge that the original game has. We also get our first look at Cortana, and she looks great, but I really believe she should be purple and green at some points like the original. Easily the best part about all of this though is the addition of 3 new missions with the Master Chief and Sergeant Johnson, along with new characters, enemies, and environments. These missions are set even before Halo Reach, according to Quest Daily, and explores the early bond between the two characters. I'm excited to see what these missions could be. I really want to see Chief in his Mark IV suit, and I hope they bring back David Scully to voice Johnson. Now, all of this sounds amazing, but how does the game itself hold up? We were only given 15 minutes to play the first half of Silent Cartographer, and I gotta say, right off the bat, I really love these new reimagined cutscenes. It's much more dynamic and cinematic than they could have ever been in 2001, but they still respect the original game at the same time. Chief is still aura farming, the soundtrack is still there, they address the fallen pelican we see later in the mission, and we see Foehammer, my beloved. No, CEA doesn't count. This is funny though, because in the original Combat Evolved, you never see Foehammer, and in Anniversary, you see a model of her through the windshield, but it's just a generic pilot model with a placeholder face. So to see her moving in a cutscene no less is so cool. The graphics itself are stunning. It really is such a graphical leap from 25 years ago, or even 6 years ago from Infinite with the use of Unreal Engine 5. There's no shortage of blood in the game, so that is good. The grunts can have their methane tanks blown off like in Reach, so that is fun to see. The new HUD I do not like, but you can change it to a more classic look, which is great. I hope they do expand on it with more options and include one that is more reminiscent of CE's classic HUD. I also love the Warthog. Look at this chunky boy, it's so cute. And the cherry on top is how you can see the turret heating up. Some modern mechanics have been included, like health packs no longer being in the game, which I think is good. I guess it removes the challenge, but I always found it a bit tedious compared to other Halos, having to go into a fight more carefully because I die in like 2 shots on harder difficulties. They did compromise though, where health regenerates much slower than the shield, so it should be interesting to see how that plays out. Other mechanics include being able to EMP vehicles with the plasma pistol, and you can also now trade weapons with Marines unlike the original. Fall damage is still present, but is nerfed compared to the original CE, which is give or take, I don't really mind it. Now, I know I've been glazing this game up until this point, but that doesn't mean it's immune to any criticism. So let's talk about the things that I, or members of the Halo community, are mixed about or don't like. First off, its title. I think it's fine. No strong opinions on it. I get they made this choice because it's only campaign, and it still has the acronym CE, although I thought it'd be funny if they just went with Combat Revolved. This menu is also very nice. Reminds me a lot of Halo 3's menu, but you have some people saying, oh, I want the classic menu though. Which, like, sure, seeing a big 3D model of the Halo ring would be cool. At least for me, I don't care. Pick whichever. Now, this game does have sprint and zoom ADS, but wait a minute before everybody starts to get riled up. For my playthrough, I was on Heroic, and I tried my best to play it without these features. And at least to me, it's safe to say that it plays like Halo and it feels like Halo. I do know that this game uses Reach's engine as the foundation, so I wonder how much that actually changes the combat. Because again, I can't really judge that much based off 15 minutes. I did die like 3 times though. There will also be an option to turn off sprint for classic Halo fans. But it does beg the question, what's the point of sprint in this game? Like I've said before, I don't mind sprint. I mean, I play Infinite, but at least to me, it didn't seem all that necessary in this game. When I tried it, it felt more attuned to Halo Reach's, where the speed kind of ramps up at first. The only times I used it though was to traverse distances and make up some ground than using regular speed, which is convenient. And that's also what the developers at Halo Studios say people could use it for. They say that there are some trade-offs in combat where you can't sprint while reloading, and you can't really outrun the projectiles. I don't know, I'd have to try it again, using it to its fullest extent to see the difference. I am glad there's a toggle though. I like compromises, so this is good to have. The zoom ADS is fine to me though, I don't care about that, that can stay. Objective markers appear more often in this game than the original, which I think is fine to me, but I know some people would like to have them removed, since the levels themselves are designed to have you explore to find the next checkpoint. Speaking of checkpoints, I do hope they are not as sparse as they are in the original. I noticed that overhealth drops wasn't in the build, but I imagine they'll add that in later. The level design of the mission was slightly changed though, to where you're now able to drive the Warthog up the hill to where the first Hunter's encounters are. This was given some backlash by Jamie Greismer? I hope I didn't pronounce that wrong, I'm sorry if I did, who was a designer for the original Combat Evolved, and stated that he placed rocks originally at the foot of the hill so players have to fight the hunters on foot, and the Warthog wrecks the encounters. Now I could see this being an issue, maybe it ruins the challenge of fighting these hunters, but at the same time, yeah, they're not much of a challenge to begin with. Little fun fact about CE's hunters, if you basically shoot them in the back with the pistol, they literally die in one shot. The remake has addressed this issue though, hunters still have that weak spot, but you have to destroy the backplate and eliminate it with 3 shots instead of 1, which is an improvement in my opinion. It actually makes them challenging to fight against. I don't know, for me personally, it's fine if the Warthog goes up the hill, but if there's enough feedback against it, all they gotta do is just plop some rocks and we're good. Jamie also goes on to say that they put trees in the landing area of the woohoo jump, which I have no idea what that is. If somebody could point that out to me, that would be great. But again, same thing, just remove the trees and abracadabra, all fixed. Now, let's move on to the biggest topic so far about this remake. Its art style. When you remake a game, I believe it's inevitable that you're gonna lose some of that sauce that makes the original so special, whether that's deliberate or unintentional. With Campaign Evolved, it's a little bit of both. Starting off with the skybox, I love how the gas giant is much more pronounced compared to the original. It really makes you feel as if you're stuck in the middle of nowhere on a strange ring, which should also make you feel even smaller. I do feel that the ring should be somewhat thinner like it is in the original. It just makes the world of the ring more vast, to me at least. But also, to add on to the sense of scale in the universe, make the stars more visible in the level as they used to be back in 2001. For Forerunner architecture, I actually like how dimly lit the interiors are with the cold air on the ground. It makes it feel ominous. But I do agree maybe it should be lit up a bit more and have more variety in lighting. There was a nice mix of yellow, blue, and purple in the original. Regarding some of these redesigns though, honestly, some of them, I don't know why they changed it. I understand it's more of Infinite's style of Forerunner, which I like, and that style is more akin to Halo 3's Forerunner architecture. And you compare it to something like Combat Evolved, where it's very simplistic and just a matte color due to its hardware limitations at the time. And of course, the buzzword of the week, CE has more of that brutalist design. I think to improve on it, it would be nice of them to keep the general shape of these structures, add some rust in there, and maybe tone down the glossiness a little bit. I still think the general message gets across to new players. When they see these structures, they know they don't belong there, and they wonder who put these there, and should I go down that creepy corridor? I don't think they'll change the Forerunner patterns to suit more like Combat Evolved. I think they'll just stick to Infinite, but still, it's just small things that I've mentioned before that could improve on the experience and respect its legacy at the same time. Moving on to character designs, I love this look of the Master Chief. He looks so good in his Mark V suit. My only small gripe is that I think he should be a lighter green like his counterpart. When it gets to the Marines and the Covenant though, that's where it gets more complicated. I am pretty sure that all of them are based off assets from Halo Infinite, and that seems like a dangerous route that they're going with, because that was the same issues that had been encountered with CE Anniversary, where they used Reach models. At least for me, what makes it more passable is that Infinite's art style is heavily inspired by the classic Halos, but I do understand people want to see more of Combat Evolved's classic designs get remade, especially with the Marines. I think they look really cool in the 2001 version, and there's really nothing quite like them in any other Halo title. I also think for the Covenant, maybe turn up the vibrancy a little bit to make them more visible, and make the effects to shield damage on elites more visible, because I barely noticed it. And in the original Combat Evolved, you could very obviously tell. If they do decide to do all of this, I hope they have enough time to change it. Moving on to weapons now, I think I'm in a minority here because I actually like this assault rifle model. Look at the little green light on the side. And no, it doesn't look like the Halo Infinite one I checked. I think my only small gripe with it is just to smooth out the edges on this ridge above the ammo counter, maybe make the gray coating lighter to match the original. Oh, and make it 60 rounds. That's literally what makes CE's AR so special. The sound on it though, I originally didn't like it, but I think I'm coming around to it. Maybe it just needs a little more oomph and it's good. The Magnum looks so good. I love how shiny it is. My only complaint is the sound. It also needs more of that power sound to it, more so than the AR. Plasma rifle in the Big 2.5, oh my god, I love this design. I originally wasn't a fan of the sound because I was so used to Halo 2's and 3's sound, but my brother reminded me how in CE its firing sound was the same as the plasma pistol. So I'm glad they retained it but put a twist to it to make it sound unique. Speaking of the plasma pistol, I never really liked Halo Reach's design. Just get rid of that little bump at the top and we're good. No complaints for the sound though. Next up is the rocket launcher. I really like this design purely because of the handlebar being more in your face, and the sound too is just so crisp. Lastly, the Needler. Oh my god, they ported Infinite's design to the game and it's got an ammo counter in the back. It's nothing like C. This thing fucking sucks. Okay, full stop right now. Like, guys, what are we doing here? You'll notice that a lot of what I've been talking about is just small details to the common eye. And I'm gonna be honest, I think a lot of the general audience does not care. I didn't know there was an ammo counter on the Needler before someone pointed out. I was more focused on the fact that the needles weren't blue enough. But did that break my immersion when I played the remake? No. Does some stuff bother me? Sure, but for the most part, it's negligible. And that's where you notice a divide is happening right now with the reception for Campaign Evolved between diehard fans and the general audience, because a lot of people see this game as such a massive improvement. And when they see an elite in the remake, they just think, yup, that's an elite. When people say that Sprint ruins the spaces that Bungie intended for you to observe, yeah, I'll admit I do that sometimes, but for the most part, I do that when I'm getting B-roll footage. When I'm playing with my friends, that part is largely ignored. We're just trying to get to the next objective, having fun. I recently played Halo Reach with my girlfriend. I was noticing all the small things in that game, but her, well, she just wanted to get past all the scenery and the cutscenes and just get straight into fighting aliens. My friend who plays on the PS5 is excited to play Halo again, and he likes how the remake looks, but he does not understand all the commotion that's going on of what's different about this remake. I'm not saying that the arguments within the Halo community are invalid. Some are just poorly expressed, especially on Twitter. Did nobody ever teach you guys constructive criticism? That doesn't even only apply to the game, but also responding to other people as well. And for some, all of these little things add up to where they have problems with Campaign Evolved. I personally think that no matter what, no remake will ever be able to fully capture the feel of the game that it's trying to recreate. And that's okay, because this remake isn't intended to replace Combat Evolved, but is a new way to experience it and stand alongside the original. But that doesn't mean we can't make our voices heard now. We are what I assume to be about a year away from the game's release, and that means there's possibly still time for Halo Studios to make changes. Maybe use a Needler model from Infinite that's more accurate, make the AR 60 rounds, make Sprint an unlockable skull rather than a toggle, alter the Forerunner structures, desaturate the game a little bit and include more bits of paler blues, yellows, and especially purple lighting, and perhaps create new models for NPCs that are more accurate to the original. Some of these things might be happening and some might not, but Halo Studios will be listening. In the demo playtest, there were feedback surveys, they're sending out builds to community members, they are definitely listening online. You even have former developers speaking out, like Jamie, who is disgruntled with some of the decisions Halo Studios changed from his original design. But you also have Marcus Leto, co-creator of the Halo universe and art director for Combat Evolved, praising how the game looks and feels genuine and how it's gorgeous in a way he wished Bungie could have built it originally back in 2001. Both opinions have weight to them, and are valid expressions. And whether you agree or disagree, that's up to you. But at the end of the day, both of these individuals have worked on Halo before. I do hope they'll release the Silent Cartographer demo out to the public so that way they can get even more data and people could actually form an opinion by playing the game instead of just observing it. Before wrapping this up, there's a couple things that I want to touch upon that doesn't bode well with me. The biggest thing is that there was no multiplayer title teaser, which of course I wasn't expecting but was hoping for. And I know some people in the pro scene basically called the announcement tone deaf to the esports community, which I totally understand. Because some of these people have spent the last 4 years dedicating themselves to be the best at Halo, and to see that Halo Studios is retiring Halo Infinite Esports, and this would be the last World Championship before the HCS goes on hiatus, to them, a campaign is something they're not looking forward to. That's not to say multiplayer isn't being worked on though. At the end of the stream, it does say the HCS will return, but for now, we don't know when. I also think this game's optimization is a bit rough right now. Obviously, it's still in development, but you see textures popping in, lighting glitches, hijacking bugs. I noticed my frame rate kept dipping at some points. I hope they'll be able to get all of that sorted out before the release date. Some other stuff that bothers me from the community is how they say, oh, we waited 4 years for this? What were they doing all this time? Well, if you must know, Halo Studios made the switch to Unreal Engine only 2 years ago, and in that time, they had to remodel everything in UE5. Some people are also disappointed that Campaign Evolved doesn't go 100% to the levels of remakes like Resident Evil or Final Fantasy VII and had different level designs and mechanics. Listen, a lot of Combat Evolved's levels are already pretty good, and the Halo community, as you can tell by now, really values its legacy. And even if a hint of that legacy is lost, there will be riots on the streets. Some people say Halo Studios is creatively bankrupt for doing Combat Evolved again. Dude, if they revealed Halo 3 Anniversary, you would start kicking your feet in the air, okay? But that also leads to another good question. Why didn't they just port the MCC to PlayStation? Probably money, I bet. The MCC is sold for $10 basically all the time, and its support ended a while ago and bugs are still present. To me, this project just seems like a reset button and also to show off what they can do in Unreal. I know I just went over a lot, I wanted to be thorough, but overall, I am excited to see what this game has to offer. There's just a few things that I'd like to be changed before it releases. Okay, now that that's over with, I'd like to discuss some updates to my channels. First off, thank you all for the support even for the past couple of days when I was gone. I still somehow managed to gain over 100 subscribers on TikTok and YouTube. And we were able to reach over 10,000 views on my last video, which is nothing short of amazing. Regarding the state of this channel though, I am thinking about slowing down the amount of uploads. That doesn't mean I'm going anywhere, but attempting to do one unique short a day was kind of tedious. And with the amount of tasks I put on myself, I seem to have neglected time for both my friends and my family. Also, I don't get paid for this at all. When I decided to put all my time into content creation, I had graduated from university about 4 months ago now, I think. And I, for the life of me, can't seem to land any job in the aerospace industry. And while I've had experience in social media and content creation in the past, I don't have a degree for it. And most of what I've learned is either through friends, experience, or YouTube videos. At first, it was all for fun and to see how far I could go. And today, I do want to continue the path that we're on. But after spending a lot of money at the Halo World Championship, I am pretty broke. And as of right now, I don't think I am close to getting monetized on any platform. So I need a job. And that's where my main focus will be for now. I hope that in a year's time, I'll still be doing this and will be able to go to Halo Fest next year, which if you don't know, will be a celebration of the Halo community and Halo's 25th anniversary. It's going to be able to host twice as many attendees and is going to have a lot of events similar to the ones in the Halo World Championship. And there's going to be a live concert of all of Halo's best tracks, which if there's one gaming franchise's music I'd go listen to live, it would be this one. And I imagine we'll probably get an announcement there regarding the next multiplayer title. But for now, we're just going to have to wait. A lot of you may be thinking though, what are we going to do for the next year while we wait for Campaign Evolved? Well, I'll tell you what we're gonna do. We're going to be playing another year of Halo Infinite. Let's fucking go! Year 5, baby! Another $1 trillion to the Slipspace engine!